Hi folks, it's Dr. Brad Semp here, aka the Busyness Doctor. I'd like to welcome you to the Busyness TV show on Busyness.com. This is the show dedicated to helping you to unbusy yourself. Today's episode is brought to us by MotionLetter.com. MotionLetter is an online video technology that distributes the videos that you upload to your email subscriber base on either a weekly or monthly basis. Now these folks are set to launch their technology on September 1st. However, you can go right now to MotionLetter.com and register for free and receive 100 free credits. So go visit them, check them out at MotionLetter.com. In today's episode, we're going to cover first a concept that I call the Busyness Circle. And then in our I Hate Guru segment, we're going to interview literary agent coach Mark Malatesta. And we'll wrap up with an Ask Dr. Brad segment where I answer a question about whether technology is evil. It's now time for our All BS segment. This is a segment in which we take a topic and I simply BS about it. So today's topic is a concept that I call the Busyness Circle. Now, what is the Busyness Circle and why is it important to us? Well, first, the Busyness Circle is simply a visual depiction of our lives and what's in our lives and what's affecting and causing us to be thrust into busyness. It also shows inherent in the diagram exactly how to combat busyness and make sure that you're not focusing on meaningless actions and instead you are surrounding yourself and intentionally designing meaningful action in all the different keystones that I call keystones of your life. So take a look at the diagram here. Now, as you can see, it's a set of concentric rings, and in the outside ring is what I just mentioned as a keystone. I call that an unbusy keystone, and there are 6 unbusy keystones of our lives, and they are health, work, financial, spiritual, education, and family. Now, those unbusy keystones, all of meaningful action essentially rolls up into one of those 6 unbusy keystones. If you move into the next concentric ring, you'll see roles. And so as a family member, you play a role either as a husband or a wife, or as a father or a mother, or a son or a daughter. In the work role, you play, or work keystone, you play roles such as an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, an entrepreneur, an employee, a manager, on and on. And then moving into the next concentric circle, you see intentions. Now your intentions are like a goal, but a little bit different. I like to describe them as a perpetual goal. It's something that you intend to achieve, and it never changes unless you change it. Right? So they don't go away. It's not like a goal that you accomplish and it's done. The intention is always there and that you set unless you change it. Your intentions now align with your roles underneath one of the 6 unbusy keystones. And then finally, in the center, you'll see the core of the Busyness Circle, which is a circle itself called ideal action. Now, ideal action is taking the right action at the right time to produce the right results. And what's important is that what busyness, the business platform is all about, is intentionally designing your action so that it is in alignment with your intentions, the role, and one of the unbusy keystones. When you do that, you can be assured that you are focusing on meaningful action and not meaningless action. So I hope that you enjoyed this Busyness Circle, and we're going to bring this back up one more time as we cover the causes of busyness. And you'll see them there. The technology, mindset, stuff, and people are the 4 causes of busyness, but I'm going to save that for another segment on another show. So I hope you enjoyed the Busyness Circle. Scroll down below and comment. I would love to hear what you have to say about the Busyness Circle, what you learned from it, what you take away from it. So scroll down below and I'll engage with you there. It's now time for our I Hate Guru segment. This is a segment in which I interview not gurus, but experts. And today I have a very special guest, a close business colleague and now friend, someone who's coached me on the author side of things. And he is an ex-literary agent who has now taken his knowledge and his skill set and is the go-between between aspiring authors and literary agents. So he coaches aspiring authors to identify, seek out, and obtain services with the best literary agent possible to make sure that you can get your book published at one of the largest houses and obtain one of the largest book advances as possible. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce good friend and awesome literary mind here, Mark Malatesta. Enjoy this. So hey Mark, welcome to the Busyness TV show.
How's it going, Dr. Brad?
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for coming on. And I've got to start with my lead-in question that I always ask the folks that come on with me, and that is, you're not really a guru, are you?
Well, I hope so, because if I'm not, I wouldn't probably make a good guest, right?
Well, we get all kinds of answers, but
I think I know what you mean, though. I mean, if you mean the ego-driven agent, then no. If you mean like the person who has special knowledge and wisdom and teaches others with their best interests in heart, then absolutely.
There you go. And for me, it's just I just don't like the word guru, so we'll call you an agent expert. How's that?
That's perfect.
All right. Well, hey, I've got a question here right out of the gate about your background. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Can you give me maybe a 1-minute overview of kind of how you've progressed to where you are today and working with folks like myself the way that you do?
Well, long story short, I'm really at heart a writer, and I had a unique opportunity when I was 28. I met a guy who had a literary agency, just started it, and he was leaving to go do venture capital, and I was able to take that over. And so I actually went kind of undercover, is what I like to say, for 5 years as an agent to learn everything I could to get my own stuff published. But it seems like a waste to not share all those secrets with all the other writers out there.
Awesome. I know you've really opened my eyes. For the folks viewing, I've hired Mark and work with Mark in my book writing publishing efforts. And so I'm excited to have Mark with us today because the stuff that I've learned from him, it's just been eye-opening. And it starts with the real first question I have here, getting into the meat of things, is, there's lots of different ways to bring your book to market. And we've published things in my business using CreateSpace, just pumping out to Amazon. I've worked with clients that have self-published, and I've talked to them about the merits or the pros and cons of doing that. And then, of course, I've talked with folks, and now I've worked with you on going the major publishing route. And so from an author's perspective, what are the advantages of having your work published by a major publisher?
I get so worked up about this. I just went off on a rant on this very topic on one of my blog posts. It's really the difference between going with a traditional or major publisher versus a vanity press or self-publishing. And it's so tempting as a writer to go the self-publishing route or vanity press route, but there are a zillion things. I'll give you a couple reasons why you want a major publisher. One, instantly is credibility. Yep. It's just not the same. Consumers are smart, media is smart. We know the difference if we see a book published by Random House versus Z Publishing or something like that, or one of the vanity press logos. We know what that means. Right. So you get major credibility. How about getting paid to publish your book, someone else paying you instead of you paying to have your book published? Distribution, sales and marketing, unless you have background in those areas, cover design, editing, licensing. If you want your book to go global and you want to have it licensed in 25 languages or something like that, movie rights, TV rights, anything like that, it's just probably not going to happen. And there are a lot of great reasons to self-publish, but it just depends what you want to do. And if you really want to go big and you want credibility and you actually want to make a lot of money doing it, really major publishing is the way to go. And not everybody's going to be able to, but at least to me, it's a place to at least try.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, and I know the process, you opened my eyes to the entire process, and we don't have time to get into that right now, but you see statistics out there about only a small percentage of folks who actually do are successful in being published by that major publisher. What's maybe the biggest mistake that potential authors make in going that big publisher route?
Well, and I can say this too, because again, remember, I'm the agent, but I'm also the writer, and there's nothing like getting inside a literary agency for a few days or many years to kind of have this revelation and go, wow. Most writers kind of know, if they're educated at all, they need to write a query letter, which is a one-page document to get a literary agent, which is the only way they're going to get a decent publisher. What they don't know is how important that query letter is. They have no idea that when you submit your query letter, it's not just you talking about your book and making a good case. It's you understanding you're going against that agent is getting queries from already published authors. They're getting referrals. They're getting query letters from famous people. So if you're not all that, you better have a darn good query.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's basically to get the attention, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I didn't realize personally how important that query letter is and how much goes into the query letter in preparation, in positioning of your platform, your book, your marketing message, on, just on and on. And I would love to get into all those details, but again, in the interest of this particular segment of the show, we just don't have that time. But we'll give folks here in a minute a way that they can get that get that additional information. I want to hit on one more thing here before I let you go today, and that is, I teach this concept underneath the Busyness platform called action units. And an action unit is a focused, dedicated block of time, 15 minutes for each action unit, where you're just totally focused on doing something without any interruption, so that you are at your maximum efficiency and effectiveness to get results, right? And every person has 96 action units in every day, and about a third of those should be you sleeping. So we really cut those down. So we have to be really careful in where we put our efforts. So the question becomes, what is it about publishing or getting that book out there that's something that somebody could do each and every day or on a consistent basis multiple times per day for 15-minute chunks? Any ideas there?
Well, I'm sure you've heard this before. There are going to be some things that it's really hard to get anything significant done in 15 minutes, or I think you're calling that one action unit, right?
Right.
There are a few things. So I'll give somebody one action unit for the next 3 days that'll totally change their life and make their writing happen, right? Number one, the obvious one is basically commit to some writing time every day, and it's not realistic, I think, to say you're going to get a whole lot done in 15 minutes, but at least you have one action unit per day, and so maybe you put those all together in a week, mm-hmm. and you have a couple hours a week.
That's right.
That's kind of the obvious one. I mean, if you want to write, you got to consistently write. But I'll give you two more that aren't so obvious. Number one, I would say your first action unit, the very first thing you should do as a writer is pull out your calendar and put a date on there, not when you're going to write, but when you are your drop dead date for when you are going to start sending that query letter we just talked about out to agents. Mm-hmm. Get that on the calendar, and that will make sure that you get the writing done. Yeah, the other thing that I really recommend, and this might take 15 minutes, might take a little longer. It only takes 15 if you go to my website, but join a community of writers, or a community where you're going to continue to get educated about writing, educated about selling your writing, and where you're connecting with other writers and educators for support and also accountability.
Awesome. I love all those, and even the first one. That's one thing that I talk to folks about, is making sure that, hey, you may not get everything done in that 15 minutes, but if, as you mentioned, if you spend 15 minutes a day, and then at the end of the week you look back and you spent only one action unit per day, and all of a sudden now you have an hour and a half worth of writing, where otherwise you're like, yeah, I'm going to get to it one day. Yeah, I'm going to get to it. And you get to the end of that week and you have nothing to show for it. And so just by taking those 15-minute action unit, that approach, and getting it in your schedule is very, very powerful. I think those are three great ones. So thank you for those.
Oh, you bet. And I'll tell you, I want to add that I love talking about things in terms of action. Yeah. And I say a lot of challenging things on my website. And I can, because I'm not trying to get people as clients. I'm just trying to educate them and tell them some things they don't want to hear. But in all honesty, if you're listening or watching this right now and you're an author or aspiring author, you don't have a right to call yourself an author or even think of yourself an author if you're not consistently taking those AU steps, those action steps every day.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, and I think that, as you say, and you're good at that, Mark, saying those things that are truthful, but people really don't want to hear. So thanks for...
someone's got to do it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, we're out of time, and the first thing I want to say is, where can folks find out more about you?
Well, you can go to 3 different websites. They all point to the same place, just whatever is easiest for someone to remember. Either literaryagentnewyork.com, okay, literaryagentny.com, or literaryagentundercover.com.
Awesome. So we'll put one of those, probably literaryagentny.com, underneath this. So if folks are watching the show, look beneath, find that URL. And then secondly, you and I are going to hop off of here, get on one more call where we're going to jump into our UnBusy Secrets segment. And I'm going to take this query letter with you because, as I mentioned, there's so many steps to it, and it's so in-depth. But you, for me, have made it very, very transparent, very, very easy, and really have opened my eyes to the importance of having a solid, stellar query letter to find that right agent and get published. And so, for the folks that want to hear that interview, definitely are going to want to check out and join us on the UnBusy Secrets backside there to hear your next portion of your interview.
And I'll give you one little teaser for that. For everybody, this is going to blow your mind. Most people don't know this. They think it's bad enough. They think, oh, I only have one page to communicate the value of myself in my book. In truth, you don't have one page, you have 8 seconds. And so I hope everyone joins us on that training to find out what that's all about.
All right, I'm ready to talk through this. So, hey, Mark, thanks for being on the Busyness TV show, and look forward to seeing you in person very soon, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Welcome back, folks. I hope that you enjoyed that interview with literary agent coach Mark Malatesta. He can be found at literaryagentny.com. And as we were speaking, we started to talk about the query letter. We're going to dive into that and a whole bunch more in another 30-plus minute segment where I interview Mark to peel back the onion even more in our UnBusy Secrets interview. Now, UnBusy Secrets is a program where every folk that I interview, we take a much more detailed look, much more in-depth investigation and discussion about the topic of busyness and their expertise. And so, I'd love to have you join us to watch the remainder of the interview with Mark Malatesta, as well as get access to all of our previous and forthcoming UnBusy Secrets interviews. So, look for that link below, click on that, and join us in the UnBusy Secrets program. It's now time for our Ask Dr. Brad segment. This is a segment in which you ask questions and I answer them. It's as simple as that. Now you can submit your question, any question that you have, by visiting busyness.com and looking for the Ask Dr. Brad link. Click that, submit your question, and my staff will sort through the questions and I'll answer your question potentially on air, just like this one from Darren in St. Cloud, Minnesota today. Now, for his question, Darren is going to receive free access to our recently released Email for Busy People program. Now, this course, Email for Busy People, is something that I developed back from 2008 onward as a way to manage my email. And it took me from 2 hours and 20 minutes per day in email actions down to less than 30 minutes, sometimes as low as 15 minutes per day. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. And you can get it for free simply by asking a question, submitting a question to Ask Dr. Brad, and if I answer it on air, it's yours. So, Darren from St. Cloud, Minnesota, here's Darren's question. Dr. Brad, I've listened to you on interviews where you say that technology is the largest source of busyness for people. However, in my opinion, technology has enabled many great things. Are you saying that technology is evil and that we should avoid it? Darren, first of all, thank you for your question. It's an awesome one. And you're correct. I absolutely answer the question just based on my professional experience and working with hundreds of clients over the years, that technology is for sure the #1 source of busyness. Is it evil? No. Technology itself is not evil. Technology itself is not the problem. It's the way that we either, #1, utilize technology, or #2, allow technology to invade on our space, right? When we're trying to take meaningful action, we allow technology to distract us and push us to the side. So the challenge is to leverage technology in an appropriate manner, either in a meaningful way when you need some downtime or need to refresh, or if you already have your set of actions designed, and you look to technology to bring that in and automate something, or potentially even to communicate with more people. Technology by way of social media and email and video and so forth are all awesome things if used in the right way. So technology is not evil. You should not avoid it. But you have to be very aware of your environment. You have to be very aware and make sure that you're always focusing on meaningful action and using technology in the right way. So Darren, hopefully that answers your question. And again, I'd like to thank you for submitting that. My staff will be in touch with you shortly to give you access to our email for busy people system, and that's a $100 value. And again, folks, anyone else, submit your questions to us if you would like a chance to have access to the email for Busy People course. That ends today's episode, folks. I'd like to thank you for watching this particular episode of the Busyness TV show at busyness.com. I'd like to remind you to register for show notifications and updates by visiting busyness.com. When you do, your member account will be created. You have access to our UnBusy Action Guide. You'll have access to 2 free cash map packages valued at $154 and some other goodies on the inside of your dashboard. So go ahead and register for that, and you'll also receive notifications every time that we release a new episode of the Busyness TV show. Similarly, you can also subscribe via iTunes by visiting busyness.com, looking for the iTunes link. Click that and subscribe if you are an Apple user. So I'd like to thank you for engaging. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, good or bad, scroll down below and comment on this particular video, because I would love to hear from you and love to engage with you. Until next time, I'm Dr. Brad Semp. I look forward to seeing you back here next week for another episode of the Busyness TV show. Take care and bye-bye.